the unassuming metal box that defined survival for generations. In the chaos of the Second World War, thousands of Allied pilots took off from airfields across Europe, Africa and the Pacific, knowing that at any moment they might find themselves stranded behind enemy lines or drifting in open water. Their survival didn't just depend on their aircraft, their training, or their luck. It depended on a small palm-sized metal box that weighed less than half a pound. It was called the pilot's survival tin, and it contained everything a man might need to stay alive when rescue was uncertain. That little tin, often tucked into a flight suit or life vest, wasn't just a kit, it was a philosophy. It represented the balance between preparedness and practicality, between design and discipline. What those pilots carried in 1943 would eventually shape how every modern survivalist, hiker, soldier and prepper approaches emergency readiness today. If you've ever built or bought a bug-out kit, the DNA of that concept lives right here, in this humble wartime artifact. The pilot survival tin was born from necessity, not theory. In the early years of the war, many airmen who bailed out or crash-landed were dying not from enemy fire, but from exposure, dehydration and starvation. They had the courage, but not the means to last long enough to be found. So, the British Royal Air Force, followed quickly by the United States Army Air Forces, began issuing standardized emergency tins to all aircrew. Each tin had to meet brutal requirements. It had to survive impact, salt, water, fire, and freezing temperatures, all while remaining compact enough to fit into a pocket. By 1942, these tins were being carefully engineered for different combat theatres. Tropical versions contained water purification tablets and salt tablets to prevent dehydration. Arctic versions prioritised waterproof matches, fuel tablets and fire-starting tools. Dessert kits included sunburn cream and concentrated glucose tablets for energy. Every item served a purpose, and nothing was decorative or redundant. This design principle, absolute efficiency tested by real conditions, is the cornerstone of every modern bug-out philosophy. When preppers today debate what to include in their go bags, they're unknowingly continuing the same logic that shaped those tins. Carry only what keeps you alive, and make sure every tool earns its place. A typical World War II pilot survival tin contained fire-starting tools like waterproof matches or flint and steel, a small mirror for signalling aircraft fishhooks and line, snare wire for small game iodine tablets for water purification, concentrated food tablets, and a small bandage or morphine ampule. In the lid, instructions were printed on how to signal rescue aircraft, identify edible plants, or build a makeshift shelter. Every tool was multi-purpose. The tin itself could be used to boil water or cook insects and fish. The wire could set traps or repair gear. Even the small razor blade, sometimes included, wasn't just for shaving, it was for cutting plant fibres or carving tinder. The entire design taught one principle that survivalists still follow. Versatility beats volume. You can apply this directly today. If you're building your own compact survival kit, think like a 1943 pilot. Choose tools that serve more than one role. A ferro rod, for example, can light a fire and double as a signal if struck against metal. Duct tape can patch wounds, repair tents, or seal leaks in water containers. A single compact knife, when maintained properly, can handle dozens of survival tasks more effectively than a backpack full of cheap tools. That's exactly how the original tins were designed. Function over form, always. The tins weren't just tools, they were training in a box. The RAF and United States Air Forces didn't just issue these tins and hope for the best. They trained their pilots to use them under pressure. Men learned to light fires in the rain, fish with improvised lines, and send distress signals using mirrors and Morse code. The survival tin was a classroom condensed into metal, a symbol of readiness, not luck. Modern survivalists often make a similar mistake to early pilots. They buy gear but never test it. The lesson from the Second World War is clear. Gear you haven't practiced with might as well be dead weight. If you build your own bug-out kit, take it into the field. Spend a weekend using only what's inside it. Learn how to purify water, make a shelter, and light a fire without matches. That experience transforms the kit from a novelty into a genuine survival tool. After the war, many veterans kept their tins, sometimes modifying them for hunting or outdoor expeditions. The concept spread beyond the military. By the 1950s, mountaineers, explorers, and even polar scientists were using similar pocket-sized kits designed around the same principles: compact, durable, and self-contained. In the 1970s, as the concept of survivalism entered the public mindset, the pilot tin became the direct ancestor of the modern bug-out bag, just expanded in scale. Even the term 72-hour survival kit mirrors the pilot's mission profile. Those airmen were trained to survive for roughly 3 days, the average time it took for search and rescue operations to locate a downed aircraft. That's why, most modern emergency kits, from Red Cross recommendations to prepper guides, still aim for the 72-hour window. The blueprint hasn't changed in 80 years because, well, it was right the first time. To apply this to modern life, you start with what those pilots had: redundancy and self-reliance in miniature. Build your personal tin within a kit. That's a compact metal or waterproof box inside your main pack containing fire-starting tools, a source of light, a blade, water purification tablets, and of course some energy-dense food. This inner core should be enough to survive if you lose everything else. It's a principle born in the air war over Europe, and honestly, it's still vital whether you're in the backcountry, the wilderness, or even during urban disasters today. The lasting lesson of the Second World War pilot survival tin is discipline, not gear obsession. What made the pilot's survival tin timeless wasn't really the contents, it was the mindset it built. Those who survived didn't do so because they had more tools. They survived because they understood their tools completely. Every pilot who carried one was expected to memorize its contents and master its use. That combination of knowledge, confidence and minimalism remains, I'd say, the most reliable survival equation ever developed. Modern bug-out kits, often suffer from excess. Too much gear, too little skill. The World War II tin shows that survival isn't about how much you carry, but how well you can use what you have. That's why, even 80 years later, the design still feels fresh, relevant, and practical. It's not nostalgia. It's efficiency proven in the harshest conditions possible. If you've made it this far, you're the kind of person who values lessons that come from experience, not just trend. The Second World War pilot's survival tin is more than a relic. It's a field-tested guide to self-reliance, born from real lives saved under impossible circumstances. If you want more deep, practical history like this, where old-world ingenuity meets modern survival, make sure you subscribe to Backyard Wisdom. Share this episode with someone who loves learning how the past still equips us for the future. Because survival, at its core, isn't about panic. It's about preparation, precision, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your kit, your craft, and your limits.